For this problem, what is the volume in cubic inches of the right rectangular prism? Volume equals length times width times height. So we know that the length is 2 times the width, which is 1.5, times the height, which is 11. The first thing that we need to do is convert the width. We need to do 2 times 1 plus 1, which equals 3/2. Second thing that we need to do now is find our volume. Our volume is now going to be, second thing we need to do is convert our volume, which is our length, which is 2/1, times our width, which is 3/2, times our height, which is 11/1. Now you can go ahead and solve that and find your answer. Number 2. A cube has side lengths that each measure 6 centimeters. What is the volume of the cube in centimeters cubed? So, once again, our volume equals length times width times height. Since this is a cube, we know that all of the lengths, width, and height is 6 centimeters. So volume equals 6 times 6 times 6. Now you can go ahead and you can figure out what your volume is. What is the volume in cubic feet of the rectangular prism? So we know that volume equals the area of the base times the height. So we know that the volume equals 5/2 times 4/5. You can go ahead and multiply straight across, and do not forget to simplify to find your answer. What is the volume in cubic meters of the rectangular prism? We know volume equals length times width times height. So volume equals, our length is 9, our width is 2, and our height is 3. You can go ahead and solve this problem for your answer. The volume of a cube is 125 feet cubed. What are the side lengths, length, width, and height of the cube in feet? We know that volume equals length times width times height. Step 1 is to recognize that they are giving us the volume. So we have 125. That is going to give us our length times our width times our height. Step 2 is to recognize that this is a cube, and our 125 is going to equal all the same. So we can make these all X, that our length, our width, and our height, that are all going to be the same measure. Step 3, we need to plug in for X, A, B, C, and D, and multiply them 3 times themselves, to get our answer 125. When we get 125, we will know what answer to choose. Number 6. Trent ordered plastic cases for storing his football trading cards. Each case has a length of 4 inches, a width of 3.5 inches, and a height of 2.5 inches. What is the volume in cubic inches of one card case? Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So they are asking us what is the volume. We know volume equals length times width times height. So we're solving for volume. Our length is 4 inches. Our width is 3.5 inches. And our height is 2.5 inches. And it tells us to round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So now you can go ahead and solve for your answer. The right rectangular prism shown below is made of equal size cubes. The side length of each cube is 1/2 inch. What is the volume in cubic inches of the right rectangular prism? We're finding volume. So we know that volume, once again, equals our length times our width times our height. So these are 1/2 inch cubes. So step 1 is showing us that we have for our length 2.5, because there's 2.5 if we're doing 1/2 inch cubes, times our width right here. If they're 1/2 inch cubes, we have 1. And our height, here's 1, here's 2, because they're 1/2 inch cubes. Step 2. Now we need to go ahead and convert our length. 2.5 gets converted. We need to do 2 times 2 plus 1. And that will give us the fraction of 5/2. Now we can go ahead and we can solve for our volume, and we can go ahead and say that our length is 5/2. And our width is 1/1, and our height is 2/1. Now you can solve for your answer. Number 8, the area of the base of a rectangular prism is 4 1/4 feet squared, and the height is 2.5 feet. What is the volume of the rectangular prism in cubic feet? We are solving for volume, and we know the area of the base times the height equals volume. So volume equals 4 1/2 times 2 1/2. So step 1 here is to convert our base, which will be 2 times 4 plus 1, which will equal 9/2. And step 2 will be to convert our height, which equals 2 times 2 plus 1, which will give us 5/2. Step 3 now is to go ahead and solve, which gives us 9/2 times 5/2. Once you solve that, you are going to get an improper fraction. So step 4, you are going to have to convert to a mixed number. And remember, we do that by doing long division. If you have to look back at other videos to do that, you may do so. Use all resources necessary to solve this problem. Number 9, the volume of a rectangular prism is 34 feet cubed. The area of the base is 8 feet squared. What is the height? We are looking for the height. So we know that volume equals base, area of the base, times the height. So volume, my bad. So we know that our volume is 34, and that is going to equal our base, which is 8, times our height. So figuring that out right there is worth 1 point. That's our first step. Our second step is solving for h, choosing our inverse operation. So we know we have 34 equals. What is the inverse operation of multiplication? That would be division. So we're dividing, and actually I am going to do this here. We are dividing by 8 over here. Now we need to solve for h. So step 3 is figuring out what h equals. Number 10. A cube has side lengths that each measure 5.5 meters. Cube, 5.5 meters. What is the volume of the cube in meters cubed? Do not round your answer. We know volume equals length times width times height. Okay. So recognizing, step 1, that this is a cube, that our length is 5.5, our width is 5.5, and our height is 5.5 is step 1. Step 2 is solving. And remember, we do not round.